that music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that takes a hell of a lot of patience as it analyses and investigates Tim Burton's Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan.
Shall I introduce myself? I thought you guys were going to, but I can't.
I was going to introduce you, but now I feel like we have to have you do it yourself. Come on.
Yeah, all right. Do you want to start from the top? Or
No,
just
this is staying in. It's all staying in.
Perfect. I am Bryarly Bishop, back for another week, and I am currently an aspiring witch. Ooh.
Yeah. Should mention, if my calculations are correct, and we launch in the day that I'm planning to launch, this is the Halloween episode.
Ooh.
So, woo!
Yeah.
And if your calculations are wrong, or something else has happened in the meantime, leave this in because that'll make it extra funny.
It's not Halloween. Gotcha.
To me, every day is Halloween.
As it should be. Spoken as a true Burtonite.
Oh, yeah. And you could call me an aspiring witch. I do have some books on witchcraft. I have a book of Cornish witchcraft. Yes, it's interesting.
What specifies it as Cornish witchcraft?
Ah, well, back in the old days,
I'm so excited.
witchcraft was very specific to individuals, almost not even locations necessarily. Individuals, you have your own way of doing things, but in certain regions they would have certain gods and certain rituals and whatnot. So the Cornish way of doing things is different to other parts of the country. So that they have a different process.
It's not 2 minutes before this episode started, we were talking about how we weren't going to go on as many tangents. Yes. And we've not even freaking introduced the minutes.
I will introduce the minutes. This is minute 23. And the minute starts with a little bit of tape, and it ends with the makings of a grand plan. Yes, and we are right back here in the Penguin's lair, as Max states that if any documents that incriminated his business existed, he'd have dealt with them and shredded them all.
And I do like the Aussie Cobblepot here as a reaction of sort of like, oh, I agree, that is the thing you would do, and then immediately pulling out it's weird because it's rolled up. I think that's what's kind of makes it very strange to me. Except again, when I was a kid, I was like, what is that? Like, it's, so I thought it was just like, all the ends are also frayed and stuff.
Maybe he just didn't put it back together very well, and so he was like, all right, I need to make him not look at it too closely
because it's illegible.
You can't actually read these documents.
Well, have either of you ever tried to piece a document back together that you shredded? Because let me tell you, he's done a hell of a good job with this thing.
Well, but we can't tell. Like it looks like it all is a square again. But can you read it?
But it at least looks.
It seems like a scare tactic.
It looks semi-legible because.
Like what documents are you shredding, John? Like what the hell have you been?
Well, I work in a hospital, and we have to shred patients' details, and sometimes I'll shred something by mistake, as you do. So rather than...
And you can't just print another copy?
No. See, this is the problem. I would have to ring the doctor and ask them to send it, and then I would look stupid. So what I will do is I will piece it back together and then photocopy that and then reshred the original one.
I'm genuinely worried, though, for... I'm genuinely worried for like the next thing the Penguin pulls out. John's gonna be like, "Have either of you two ever had to get rid of a dismembered hand?"
Well, I mean, come on, that happens to everyone.
My first question is: so the Penguin is like, it just takes tape and a little bit of patience. How long does it take to? How much patience does it require?
Let me tell you, a lot.
And do you think that you would need all of your fingers? So is this something the Penguin has done, or has he like hired someone?
Oh, I can't imagine he's done this. Like this is pure underling.
I'm terrible
work
at it,
of
and
just,
I
like,
have all my fingers.
How long does it take? Like, how long has he been plotting this shredding business?
A long time. That's a lot of paper. That's not like one sheet, is it? Oh, that brings me to my other thing. Actually, I love the idea that there's no other trail on this shady doings. Right? You just shred one document, and it's covered up. Okay, cool. There's nothing else in the world to incriminate him on this count.
He's like an old school gangster. Like, he doesn't use computers. It's all just typewriters.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of this movie. Again, we've said it a million times. We said it in the last one. When is it set? That there are computers. That's been established. There are computers, but it clearly looks like much older than computers.
That's the thing. Do we see? We see bat computers.
Bat computer,
But
and
then-
I think, if I recall, are there not computers at the press office?
I remember a lot of typewriter sound effects in there. I can't remember if there were any computers in there. We should have to go back and look at that whole film again, 1 minute at a time, and then
Yes. Next season we'll do Batman 89.
The age thing is very Burton, though. Like, I don't know if it's just something that he likes to do, or if it is intentionally is it meant to be like Batman is timeless, or does he just sort of like this sort of almost pre-industrial thing?
I think it's a coming together of both of those things you said. I think he appreciates that applies to Batman, but he's going to do it anyway. Like, that's Tim Burton, isn't it? Like, it's his own world. It's barely even connected to the real world.
Like, he's like, it's good that this works out for the thing I was already going to do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a coincidence more than anything.
I like the idea though that the Penguin didn't do this. This is one of the clowns sitting to the side of him, and then like this is so dismissed so quickly. Of like, I spent days putting that document back together, and then it's just so like, a lot of tape and a little patience makes all the difference, and then puts it aside. It's like, well, that was it. Like that's
You're just
all
going to
you're
show
gonna...
it to him? That could be anything.
Yeah. Again, like, you're surprised, Max Shreck isn't just like, well, can I have a look at that? Like, oh, no. It turns out, like, no, this is actually, we don't have anything on you at all.
This is a phone book.
It could be. Look at it. It's huge.
Yeah, that's true. And it is very ragged and sort of yellow.
Yeah.
Also, all right, so like when he pulls out, he's like, how's your friend? And it's like, he's on vacation. What a terrible lie. It's like, I'm stepping out for cigarettes.
Yeah. Again, though, it's just these two guys are just great in the scene together. Just everything they're doing. Because the fact, though, you think at this point, Max Shreck should know, like, oh, he's obviously got all this dirt on me. And then the way the Penguin kind of does this, like, almost innocent, like, oh, yeah, by the way... Whatever happened to Fred Atkins, your old partner? Like, as if, like, oh, I'm just casually asking. And then Shreck as if, like, he must know. Like, well, clearly he knows
The
what happened.
implication is that he killed him, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Which makes I always think it feels a bit like a reference to A Christmas Carol.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yes, thank God. I thought people were going to laugh at me for that.
No, I had the same thought.
Yeah, it's like Max's Scrooge, basically.
A bit.
How many something though that actually turned out to be like that was the pitch that like they came in with of just like
it is a Christmas movie,
Exactly. Yeah. It's not accidental, I don't think.
No, I think you're right.
That's very specifically the pitch of this moment though of like because apparently when Dan Waters was writing this to sort of get Tim Burton interested, he had to sort of come up with things that were like. Tim will like this. But he very specifically said that he loved this idea that the Penguin was like underneath Wall Street, like taping all these documents back together, getting dirt on everyone. Like this was really his like, oh, this is the plot. Isn't this great? And Tim was very like, whatever. Like I just want to.
It's interesting too because it's sort of the Penguin's like fatal flaw, is that like he obviously, it's not about like the money or whatever. Because if you had that much dirt on that many people and you also had that family name, you could just quietly take over the town if you wanted to. But instead, he has to go on this weird toxic waste crusade.
He's trying to say that he's a toxic crusader.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll have to link to that in the group now, Niall.
But yeah, that's the what we're talking about. Dan Waters writing the script. People might notice we haven't brought up the original Dan Waters draft in like a couple of episodes.
I have something on this as well, but you go ahead.
No, it's just more the fact that this scene in that original Dan Waters draft doesn't really exist. Like, it just sort of, he goes very straight into the Penguin has captured Max Shreck. I'm gonna kill him, and Max Shreck is just like, hey, what if I made you mayor? And then instantly just goes into that plot line. And it's like, whoa, slow down. Hey, what? It's like literally
Like he needs to be pushed more.
Yeah, it just seems a bit more of a setup, I think, really. Like, the way that the mayor thing comes together is, I think it's very well done. But this is very much just like, hey, one of us to do this for you. And he's like, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's a good idea. And even then, I think this film was almost, like, the revisions almost kind of fixed. Like, you know, because in that, the dialogue in that, like, he's, you know, the penguin has him down there. There's a little scene where, like, a penguin comes over and is talking to him. And the penguin can talk to the penguins. Like, he's like, oh, don't bother me. Like, oh, it's over there. And, you know, he's very, like...
He's like the Ice King a bit.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yes.
But then, like, he just goes like, oh, he has a line of dialogue saying, like, oh, yeah, but don't worry, Max. I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to freeze you for 200 years until they find a cure for rich, uppity, snob power mongers. I'm only kidding. I am going to kill you. And the thing is, specifically in this movie, he goes like, what, do you think I'm going to go through all this trouble tonight just to kill you? As if this, like, maybe that was Wesley Shreck who did, like, the script revisions going, it's pretty stupid that he went to all that length to just kill the guy when he could have just...
It would be insane.
They could have just shot him.
You could just shoot him.
Yeah.
So I think they might have introduced this whole element of, like, no, he wants something else, and that's why he's brought him down here. Yeah. Rather than just like, yeah, I specifically just want to kill this guy. I could have just shot him when he was up in the street. I had freaking machine
Could
guns
have set
going.
snakes on him.
Oh,
Yeah, could have done
or
anything.
poodles.
Sure, why not?
But my note I have on the script is, well, first I have to bring up another point. Well, not point, but another thing that happens, which we talked about off mic as being amazing, because the Penguin now produces the dead hand of Max's former partner. He's got the body, he's got the proof, potentially, and he says an amazing line. Remember, Max, you flush it, I flaunt it.
Let's talk about that. Can you flush body parts? And did the penguin break this body up, or did Max? And furthermore, what the hell?
Now, I'd not thought about the fact, the wording, like, is he
Very
suggesting it
strange.
was flushed down the toilet?
He is suggesting that, like, if you flush it, I find it. Like, where do you find it? How has it been flushed? What are you talking about?
I do like the mental vision, though, of Max Shreck, like, taking apart a body in his bathroom. And
Yeah,
trying to
right,
shove it all
exactly.
down
Like,
the
he's
toilet.
like, put it in the tub.
Let's be honest, it's Max.
just
He
like-
had a guy to do that for him.
But it would have to have gone down, like, an industrial drain, I guess.
Yeah.
Which then, like, the word flush doesn't really bring to mind.
No. I did envisage it kind of like maybe Max has a Mr. Burns-esque corpse shoot. That he just throws people down, they go into the water, whatever, get rid of the corpse.
It could have been like, maybe it's like crocodiles under there, and this hand is the one thing that's left. Like that's
Yeah.
Then that got flushed somehow down, and maybe when they were flushing the crocodiles toilet.
I was still expecting it to be a head.
Oh,
Like,
that'd be good. That'd be great.
I don't know that I would recognize somebody's hand.
Yeah. Like,
Especially after it's been, presumably, like, if it has been flushed, it spent a lot of time in the water, and those are sort of notoriously difficult to identify.
I'll be honest, I've been with my partner now for nearly 13 years. I think I would have trouble identifying her hand.
I could identify, I think, a live hand from my best friend, but I don't know that I could identify a, like, waterlogged, presumably dead for, like, a while?
Yeah, I get the impression it's been a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah, that hand is in great shape.
It is.
Yeah, because maybe refrigerating it, maybe. Like, he's like, but...
Well, it's Arctic World.
Yeah,
That's the real effect of the toxic waste. Yeah, but you live forever.
But then
That's the thing I do love though when he like just to make this extra gruesome. They friggin' like when he brings out the hand, just the noises it's making, like the sound effects of that kind of like that real like just the loose skin jiggling about and stuff. And it's really like it's just no need to make it that grotesque. But they're like, no.
You know what the word for that is? Slippage.
No, that's great. I love it.
Isn't that awful?
It's brilliant.
That just reminds me of like
very evocative.
Like in Hellraiser when they have to like put on the skin over the muscles. Like that's really like oh my god.
Stop.
Like,
well, if you guys liked the Flush It line, you're gonna love what's in the Waters and Strick version of the script. Because it's pretty much the same, but there's slightly more dialogue, and I was obsessed with it. Basically, Penguin says to him, "Want to greet any other body parts, or stroll down memory lane with torn up kinky polaroids, failed urine tests?" And I was just like, "That's great."
That's oddly general though. Like, is it Max's stuff or is it his partner's?
Yeah, I don't know. And who is it? Max and the partner
Like, your
taking
partner
the kinky
failed
polaroids.
urine test.
Yeah. What does he mean by partner?
that's what they do. Like failed urine test for what? Like what?
Drug testing.
Yeah, they're on drugs. They're taking drugs. They're having sex in weird lingerie. I don't know.
Oh, that would be actually good. And maybe that was
I just
one
assumed
of
it was business partner, but now that you say it,
I imagine it probably was both. I was like,
Torn up kinky polaroids. What does that insinuate?
yeah. Was it their own like? Because that kind of adds a whole weird, tragic element to this.
Yeah.
Like,
and it made me think, this is going to be really dark.
Did he call his partner Chip, and that's why he named his son Chip?
Oh my God.
Right?
No, it gets really dark, but it made me think of, how do I word it? We've brought it up before. The allegations surrounding a certain event in Christopher Walken's past.
That's what I was thinking. This is eerily like Walken himself must be like, hope no one mentions into the skeletons in my closet over here.
Yes,
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I live under a rock. Hello.
This is all alleged, but you know the actress Natalie Wood, who was in Rebel Without a Cause and stuff, and she died in like 1981, and she died while out on a boat trip with Robert Wagner and Chris Walken. I can't remember what exactly they blamed it on, but now in more recent times, there's sort of evidence to be like there may have been foul play, but like
not from
Chris
Walken,
Walken
can I just say?
Yeah, but Robert Wagner or maybe the captain of the boat, but it could have been like there's an illusion that Chris Walken might have been complicit at least in the potential murder of Natalie Wood, which is
well, the rumor was he was having an affair with Robert Wagner, I think. And she found out about it and got annoyed and went out into the sea.
Annoyed?
Because they were married.
Well, still not, I think, a strong enough word.
Yes. I agree. I'm
cheating on me with a man? That's annoying.
I'm trying to be neutral.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know these people. I don't know their circumstances. And it's all alleged, so I have to be careful.
Oh, fair enough.
Does Chris Walken himself listen to this podcast? Like, what? What did they say about me?
We know Chris Walken listens to this show. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, he's been listening since episode 1 of the last movie.
Of course,
like, he's like, okay. I will say though, like if Fred Atkins is taken to be more than a business partner, though, that would add to like Max Shreck being like, oh, I'd recognize that hand anywhere. Like,
oh yeah, right.
Me and that hand have had some times. Like maybe afterwards, he's like, "Are you keeping that hand? Can I take this with me?"
Oh, come on.
So that's the thing. With this movie, we try to keep things nice and PG in the podcast, but that's what this weird movie will freaking it'll switch the tone. Here's a question, actually, Bryarly. I think, if you were unfamiliar with the movie prior to this, would you be surprised to hear that this had a Happy Meal tie-in? This was like a major merchandised movie sold to children.
That would not surprise me.
Oh,
really? Oh. So apparently it did surprise a lot of people, the fact that there was a whole big kerfuffle
I think
about
it surprised Warner Brothers, who were behind the merchandising.
Yeah.
No, like two reasons. One, we live in a late capitalist hell society.
That is true.
So if it is tied into anything that is marketable, I anticipate people selling stuff for it. I mean, like any real terrible thing has merchandising. And second, I worked with kids off and on for about 10 years, and they hunger for death and violence.
Yes.
Like, just the things that they invent on their own. You know, like when I was a kid, for example, we would play around with in the neighborhood and like run through people's backyards and make up games and stuff. And one of the favorites was one that I came up with, that like a serial killer had been buried under a tree in our backyard and would come to life with an axe and chase us. And it was a game to like creep back to the tree, like quote unquote accidentally awaken this vengeful ghost, and then run as fast as you could down the street. And the last person would be like dead.
See, that's the thing. Kids
So-
love that kind of stuff. I love
They really
anything
do.
horrible. Mm-hmm. In fact, we have a show here, Horrible Histories, don't we, for kids, which is all about like the
Yeah.
gross side of history.
Yeah, because
they love
have
it.
garbage pail kids and stuff like that, where it's just
Yeah,
deliberately is it.
Just saying, I think that Hollywood is shameless. I think that if they think that they can make money off of a thing, that they will. But it surprises me that you say that Warner Brothers was surprised.
Well, they were surprised by the movie, basically. When it was delivered to them, it was like,
Oh,
that's why Tim Burton doesn't come back for the next one, because they were like, you can't, this movie's insane. You can't put this
Yeah.
out.
Like one of the that's the thing though, because apparently like McDonald's, because of the merchandise and things, they were checking in on stuff, and apparently that was one of the famously Tim Burton, as one of the complaints he got, was them bringing them up going, what is this black stuff coming out of the penguin's mouth? We can't sell Happy Meals with that. But there was a major backlash when it actually came out, and that's apparently people were writing into the LA Times with like letters saying like, has McDonald's no conscience and stuff like this.
No, they don't.
The entire quote is actually, violence-loving adults may enjoy this film, but why on earth is McDonald's pushing this exploitative movie through the sales of its so-called Happy Meals? Has McDonald's no conscience? And then apparently a Christian-based organization called the Dove Foundation, they really went heavy into like criticizing this stuff. And then McDonald's then, and much like Max Shreck himself, they tried to do like an old denial of like, even though the adverts had like, oh, come get your, I think they had specific Batman Returns cups that had like Frisbee disc lids. And it's like, just like in the movie. And they'd play like clips from Batman Returns in the adverts. And then McDonald's came out and they're like, this is more merchandise just related to Batman as a character. We're not specifically endorsing the movie Batman Returns. And like, the thing is, every bit of the toys in the Happy Meal, one of them was just flat out the Batmobile from this movie. And they were all based around like Catwoman, the Penguin, Batman. And then even Warner Brothers, then they tried to do the same thing about coming and going and saying, we very specifically, what's the exact quote they said? We were careful not to provide actual toys from the movie. And it's like, you did! You totally did! So they were very much like
I
Max
guess
Shreck
their
doing
thought
like a...
process is just that there weren't toys in the movie? Maybe? Like, very technically they weren't? I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably their thinking to get around it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just totally like Max Shreck of like, oh, this is not an admission, but technically you'll find that there are no toys in that movie. But yeah, this was totally like, and so, but even beyond that, because like I remember I had a toy of the Penguin when I was a kid that came from this movie, and you better believe that toy of the Penguin does not look a thing like Danny DeVito. And apparently it was a thing with Kenner, who made it. They kind of went, we can't do this. This is too scary for children. And apparently the Penguin they brought out, it just looks like Burgess Meredith basically, and it's a repaint of the 1980s Superpowers collection that Kenner had done previously, but they just painted his blue suit black. That was their whole pitch.
He wanted to paint it black.
Yeah. But when I was a kid, though, I was just like, this doesn't look like the Penguin. Like, what the hell is this?
Well, that's the thing. Kids aren't stupid. Whenever, like, I'm not knocking them, but my parents would often buy me fake toys, like fake Transformers and things. This is going to sound very English, down the market, and they always felt inferior. As a kid, you knew this is the second tier toy. I'm not going to play with this properly. Like I'm going to bash this toy around and throw it out windows and things.
Yeah, the old classic of like getting like Rola Cola instead of like Coca-Cola. Like this isn't good. What the hell is that?
Exactly. It's that
I'll
kind
drink
of thing.
it, but I'm not going to like it.
And plus, I spent a lot of time living abroad, so everything's fake anyway. So, like I lived in Cyprus, I lived in Pakistan. Everything's fake.
Can you elaborate on everything's fake? I mean, I know it's not about the movie, but I need.
No, I mean, like in those countries, all the toys are fake. Like nothing's legit, nothing's real. Everything is just made there.
It means like, Bryarly, if you were to pick up the toy and look at it, you'd be like, is the toy really in my hand? Or is the toy just merely, the trick is to learn that the toy, there is no toy.
That's really what I meant. Yeah.
That's how deep we go in this podcast.
It's a philosophy podcast, really, at heart.
Oh my goodness.
But no. It's all toy based. It's all in Pakistan and Cyprus, and everything is. In fact, I was just in Cyprus again the other day for the first time since I was 8, and every shop had about 50 different colognes. They had like Gautier and whatnot, and it would be like about 1/8 of the price. And in a very plasticky bottle, and you're like, this is suspect.
That doesn't seem quite right.
Something was off. You spray it and it seems fine at first, and then about 15 minutes later you're like, wait a minute.
That's the thing. That's that was that present you bought me back from Cyprus, John. What are you telling me?
No, that was a real one though. That was fine. I sourced that.
Oh right. Oh, thank God for that. I was worried that you would buy me some cheap knockoff.
No, only the best of Gautier's Le Mail for you.
But I will note though, because we almost skip past it there when Penguin brings out this disembodied hand. I think my favorite moment of acting from Danny DeVito is just prior to that. Because, the Walken does the whole, I believe he's on extended vacation. He could, yeah. Like, really, everything's fine.
He doesn't sell it very well, which I like.
But, that's the thing, though. The Penguin's expression, though, he's looking at him with this smile of, it's the thing, because he knows what he's about to do, so he's like, I can't wait to pull out this hand. Mm-hmm. But he is also got this kind of thing of, that's your excuse? That's the best lie you can think of. I was like, oh, he's good. In the way he kind of repeats, oh, good. And then I just think that part genuinely made me laugh watching it, in preparation for this. Is that is top tier stuff from DeVito there. So I just thought I'd call it out. It's yep, that's good job, man. Good job.
Let's be honest. Everything he does in this movie is a good job.
I would argue. I don't think there's an off moment on anyone acting in this movie. No. Everyone's really on the top of their game.
Absolutely.
Gold star.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give everyone a sticker. Actually, you said "aw," and that brings me to something I noticed. Very minor. I just love the fact that in the background you can see the real penguins frolicking around. Because I did bring up
having a great time.
Yeah, they are. They're swimming around. Because I brought up in the past that some of the penguins aren't real. They're animatronic, there's puppets, there's all kinds of different things. But you can clearly see in the background the real penguins are just playing, they're just having a laugh.
Yeah.
Just having a ball. They
Yeah.
don't care that it's a serious business meeting.
No. Every serious meeting I've ever attended would have been improved by the presence of penguins.
Also, they're completely oblivious to the fact that they are swimming in toxic waste again, as previously mentioned.
It was cute, and now it's just sad again.
Oh.
Don't worry, those penguins are fine. That's the thing at the end of the movie. Everyone else is broken or dead, but those penguins are still okay. So take solace in that, at least. Yeah, so I suppose that we have to sort of keep things quick, because I'm kind of almost noted out for this minute. If anyone has anything else that
it's not movie related. The only thing I had was I just living in the States, I learned recently that when Trump is upset by a document, he shreds it. That they have to be put back together by somebody for posterity. So
Oh my god.
the idea of this very powerful man having a desire to get rid of these documents, and then utterly failing to do that because some peon put them back together, just sort of emphasized the similarity.
I
for
love
me.
the idea that he then goes and finds the piece together document and shreds it again. And then they have to put it back together again.
I'm just going to say this in one sentence. That sounds like something that would require a lot of care and follow through.
Yes. Okay, I fully understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Again, we don't get political on this show. Like, not at all. It's never happened.
I was simply commenting on the act that you described.
Oh, yeah, that's totally fine. It's totally fine.
That wasn't an admission.
Any listeners who are my Facebook friend are well aware of any political stuff I may bring up, so it's fine.
I'm an environmentalist vegetarian. That's all I'll say about that.
Yay, likewise.
Draw your conclusions.
Yeah. I guess we can move on to the next minute then, if everyone's...
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
We did forget to mention one tiny thing that happens right at the end, because Max miraculously has a change of heart, and he decides...
Oh, that's right. He sort of pulls him off to the...
Yeah, he decides to help the penguin out, and he gives him what he wants. Shreck is going to orchestrate a welcome home scenario for our little pengy.
Yeah. I like the way, though, he actually... It's weird that because it does two kind of weird telling things. So he goes like, "Oh, Mr. Penguin," and then he kind of looks over as to where the goons would be. And he's like, "Mr. Penguin, sir." Like he's doing the "I need to play subservient now."
Yeah, it's a very obvious. I mean, I was just like, this is what he does in politics.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But the weirder thing is then that he kind of takes him aside and he's just like, "I think perhaps I could organize a little homecoming scenario for you." But it's the fact, it seems like he's doing it in hushed tones, as if he doesn't want them to hear. I was like, well, they've seen everything else, so that's why
they've signed up for this charade, sir.
Yeah, but it's just weird that he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this. Okay, I'll maybe he's so used to doing shady dealings that
exactly.
He can't make a deal without it being behind closed doors. This is what we're really doing,
We're already in the sewer, but it's not secret enough.
But no, that does it for this minute. Before we go, Bryarly, would you like to tell our listeners where they can get in touch with you online if they have any burning questions?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter at Bryarly Bishop, on Instagram at the same thing. You can go to my website or YouTube. Those are both just Bryarly. And if it is Halloween, happy Halloween. If it's not Halloween, happy Halloween.
No, have a horrible Halloween.
Last year I was Jackie the Ripper.
Love it.
It was really fun.
That's a great idea. I fully support this. We need more. In fact, we need a From Hell minute now, even though I'm the only person who likes that movie. But
it would just be relentless people going like, "Well, in the book, which is much better, the Johnny Depp character is supposed to be like this overweight middle-aged man." But
it's fine. It's fine. I'm used to people making fun of me for liking that. It's okay. I can deal with it.
Yeah,
but,
I do always remember specifically that Alan Moore was enthusiastic about it, specifically because I remember him saying in an interview, "Oh, they cast Heather Graham," and I knew she was in Twin Peaks, so I was like, "Oh, this must be good. If she's doing it, it must be great." But then, of course, Alan Moore just hates any adaptation of his work, so he was very much like, he would have been disappointed anyway. But I like the fact that was his one sort of like, "Oh, this is pretty good that they've cast a lady from Twin Peaks that I like." So
that's a good point. If someone from Twin Peaks is in it, I'm usually sold, even if it's crap.
I've seen the cast of Twin Peaks do a lot of crap, man.
I know, I'm the same. But I'll still turn up for it. That's the thing. But on that note, we will all head off into the dark, dark night and leave you in peace on this lovely, scary Halloween Wednesday. If it is, in fact, a Halloween. I'm not sure. Whatever. We'll figure that out later. If it's not, you can make fun of me. You can send me a tweet mocking me. That's fine. I don't care. Whatever. But
you stupid jerk. What do you think I was for?
All I ask of you in return for the freedom to mock is to join us again on Friday, because we'll be back. We'll be rounding out the week with Bryarly, and we will have a minute 24 of Batman
Dun, dun,
Returns.
dun.
Next time, give the man a hand. Upon severing his way out of a grim situation, an alleviated aristocrat makes a deal via limb amputation. But whose stressed silhouette at the front of her house will spout phrasal cliches at a non-existent spouse? Find out Friday, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.